Oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. Ten years ago, I started a business.
Adam Erhart, who is a marketing
has helped countless entrepreneurs and
digital agents.
Every day felt a little more like I was dying on the inside. I didn't believe I could do it. At the time this all started, I was going back to school and working a minimum wage job selling running shoes, which left me with only a few hours a day to work on building the business of my dreams. Then I found something that would change my life forever. And today, I'm going to tell you what that was.
Welcome to the show, Adam.
My name is Adam Erhart, and this is me in the summer of 2012. I'm 28 years old, I've got a great job as a business jet pilot, I'm making 6 figures a year, traveling all over the world, and from the outside, it looks like I'm living the life of my dreams. But deep down, I knew that something wasn't right. I had no control over my schedule, no freedom, and I was gone all the time, so I barely got to see my friends and family. I was making decent money, but there were no opportunities for growth, and worst of all, I knew that I wasn't living up to my true potential. Every day felt a little more like I was dying on the inside. And so one day, in what can only be described as a nervous breakdown, I called my boss and told him I quit. But when I got home, I immediately realized that whatever I was going to do next, I would be starting completely from zero. I had no job, no savings, and no real skills outside of flying an airplane, which was pretty much useless, seeing as I had no intention of ever going back. On the bright side, losing everything and being forced to start from scratch meant that things could only get better from here, right? It also lit a fire under me and gave me this burning desire to prove to everyone around me that I could make it, or more importantly, to prove to myself that I could make it. And so, I got to work planning out my next move, going into this with an open mind and being willing to consider pretty much anything, as long as it wasn't dangerous, illegal, or required me to wear a hot dog costume to work. A guy's gotta have standards, you know? So the first thing I did was make a list of rules for the things I was looking for. First, I didn't mind working hard, but I wanted it to be for me, with my effort being directly tied to my results. So the harder, or smarter, I worked, the more money I would make. I called this control. Next, I wanted to be able to work when I wanted, where I wanted, and with who I wanted. I labeled this freedom. And finally, I wanted to be able to do something that would allow me to fulfill my potential, to do and be and have as much as I was able to achieve. I labeled this infinite to represent the unlimited and infinite potential that I feel is within all of us. Next, it was time to get tactical, because while I had the drive to succeed, I still didn't have the right vehicle to get me where I wanted to go. And I knew that choosing the right vehicle was one of, if not the most important decisions that I could make, as I'd once heard Warren Buffett say, "What boat you're in matters much more than how hard you row." It was then that I remembered something that I'd read about a decade or so earlier called the cash flow quadrant in the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, where he lays out the different methods that money is made. On the left side, you've got the traditional paths that most of us are encouraged to follow, starting with being an employee at the top and maybe moving down to being self-employed from there. But it's on the right-hand side of the quadrant that true financial freedom is achieved by being a business owner and an investor. But this is where things got interesting for me. Because after staring at the quadrant for what felt like hours, all of a sudden things clicked, and it became crystal clear exactly what path I needed to take. I knew that getting another job, even a high-paying job like a doctor or a lawyer, wasn't going to get me where I wanted to go, so being an employee was out. The idea of becoming self-employed and working as a freelancer or something like that would give me at least some control, but never the true financial freedom that I was looking for. Being an investor sounded awesome, but I had nothing to invest, so that one was out. And this left me with only one option. Business owner. Later in my career, I would hear a quote by Naval Ravikant that really helped drive this home, where he says, "You're not going to get rich renting out your time. You must own part of a business to gain your financial freedom." And so, with zero skills, zero experience, and zero idea of where to even start, I knew that I needed to start a business. The first place I looked was at buying a franchise, but the startup costs were hundreds of thousands of dollars, so that option was out. Then I looked at MLM, also known as network marketing, but after just 2 weeks of trying to get my friends and family to buy my protein powders, I felt terrible about myself and vowed to never try to sell something I didn't believe in again. I thought about coaching or consulting, but unless somebody wanted to learn how to fly a plane, at the time I didn't really have any other marketable skills. And that's when my wife suggested that maybe I should look into marketing. And so, I picked up a book on marketing. The first book was called Biology, and it claimed to explain why people buy what they do. And the book showed me that there were forces going on behind the scenes that influenced directly why we as humans buy the things that we do. And these were powerful forces, and forces that I previously didn't even know existed. After that, I read Purple Cow. probably like a dozen times. And it talked about how you could make more sales and grow any business by being remarkable and unique and interesting. The book showed me how business and marketing success were more than just luck. In fact, they weren't luck at all, but rather highly controllable levers that you could pull in order to get specific and certain results. Then I read the E-Myth that showed me if I was going to build a real business, then I needed systems and processes. Otherwise, I was just building myself another job. Each new book came with a new idea, and each new idea fueled my desire even more. But I knew that as valuable as reading was, the only thing that mattered was taking action and getting results. And so I took everything that I learned and I started my first agency. A web design agency. At first, I built websites for free to build up my portfolio. Then I started charging a little, then a lot. But very quickly, I realized that there was a limit to how much I was able to charge. And the feedback I kept hearing again and again, both from current and potential clients, was, the website looks great, but how is it going to make my business more money? And that's when I realized that I wasn't in the business of building websites. I was in the business of helping my clients get new customers for their businesses, something I would later come to know as customer acquisition. And it was with this insight that everything changed. I realized that the websites I was making looked good, but nobody could find them. And so I started to learn SEO, search engine optimization, so that the websites I built would show up on Google when someone was searching for them. Then I learned social media marketing to help drive even more sales for the business. Then paid ads like Google ads and Facebook ads. Then email and funnels and landing pages, SMS marketing, and anything else I could use that would help my clients. But very soon, I started to realize that clients didn't care if I used Google ads or Facebook ads or SEO or email marketing or video or content or whatever. Those were all just tools. The only thing that mattered to them was results. And in business, results mean more customers, more sales, and more revenue. And I figured out that if you can be the one to deliver those things to your clients, then you can make more money than you ever thought possible. After all, there's probably no better or more irresistible offer out there than to say to a business owner, hey, if you give me $1, I'll give you back $2 or $5. Or $10. And so I started to apply this principle everywhere. The principle of focusing on results, the principle of focusing on customer acquisition. When working with clients, this meant only doing activities that were going to get them more customers, which usually came down to just a few simple services like Google ads or SEO. For growing my agency, this meant focusing only on the few things I knew would get us more clients, which was almost always just reaching out to even more people. Today, I call these RGAs, which stand for revenue generating activities. And these activities fall almost exclusively into two different buckets, GT and KT. GT stands for get them, and this bucket involves any activity that is going to help you attract more clients. Things that go in here are things like reaching out to prospects and having conversations with potential clients and sending emails and DMs to people who might be interested in hiring you. The KT bucket stands for keep them and has to do with delivering the services and providing results. What's important to remember here is that your clients don't care how hard you're working. They only care about the results. So if you can find a way to get them results faster, easier, and cheaper, well, that's a win-win for both of you. By making customer acquisition my primary focus and cutting out all of the NRGA or non-revenue generating activities from my life, I was able to double my income and cut my working hours in half in the first month alone. Then I did it again, then again, then again, until my agency was pretty much running without me, bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars each and every single month, almost completely passively. The thing is, now you know that focusing on customer acquisition is one of, if not the most profitable skills you could ever learn. The next question then is, how do you actually learn it? And what steps should you take if you want to build an acquisition agency of your own, so you can experience all the same benefits? Well, that's why I've put together a string of videos that are going to show you exactly how to do that. So you can watch this playlist right here, and by the time you finish, you're going to have a much better idea on how to start and scale a freedom-providing online business of your very own. So make sure to tap or click that now. I'll see you in there in just a second.